Hello students, welcome to this Frames 5 video tutorial on sports. There are a couple ways that we can proceed at this point. First thing is I would like you to open Frames 5 from your application screen. Now, if you completed this project last year, and if you have access to the sports file, then I'd like you to open that file called sports. If you do not have access to that file or you were not here last year, then I would like you to go back and start from sports tutorial 1. Okay? All right, so let's review what you completed already. Let's hit play. Now, if you remember, we have a title page. We have animated a baseball spinning towards a bat hitting the ball, and the ball moving in the opposite direction. Okay, so the first thing you might want to do is you might want to go into frame 1 and change your home room, because I would assume that you are now in a different home room. Okay, so let's continue this story. Let's continue this animation. Let's click on the final frame. Okay, now you know why we didn't create a credits page. All right, so let's create a new frame. We're not going to duplicate, we're going to create a new frame. Okay, so it's completely blank. Now we're going to go back to the previous frame and we're going to copy the baseball. So let's click on the baseball. Let's go up to the copy button in the top toolbar. Click on copy. Then I want you to click on the next frame, which is blank, and hit paste. Okay. So now from the toolbar, tool panel on the right, let's click on the shapes tool and let's click on the arrow. Okay. Actually, we only have to click on the line here. Let's reduce the size of the stroke. So what I want you to do is, I want you to start in the center of the baseball on the left-hand edge of the frame, and I want you to draw a horizontal line all the way across to the opposite edge of the frame. Okay? So again, like we did in previous animations, in previous tutorials, we're going to use this as a guiding line. So now, let's grab the baseball, and let's move it to the right edge, because what we're doing is this is a completely different scene. The baseball moved from the right edge of the frame to the left edge of the frame, and we're going to continue that motion here. Okay, so now we're going to have it enter the right edge of the frame. Let's go up to the options pull down menu and let's bring the baseball to the front of the line so that it's much easier to judge its position. Okay, so now let's create a different scene. Now we're going to go away from the baseball park because we're just going to focus on the movement of this baseball through the air. Okay, so make sure nothing is selected. Deselect everything. For the background color here, next to fill, make sure the fill is checked. Let's click background color. And let's try to find a green that's similar to the green in the previous frame. Similar to this grass green here. Okay, that's pretty close. If you don't like it, then you can choose a different green here. Maybe that's even better. Okay, so we're also going to show a sky. Now this is an easy way to create a sky or the ground. We're going to go up to the shape menu, shape tool, sorry, and click on the rectangle. Okay, we're actually going to turn off the stroke, but we're going to change the fill color to a nice sky blue. Okay, you choose the blue that you want. So this is an easy way to create a sky or a ground. Start off of the frame. Start above the frame and to the left edge of the frame. Click, and then I want you to create a rectangle. Okay, up here. Now, because we don't see the edges, it just looks like this is the ground, this is the sky. Okay, so before we start duplicating this frame, let's make sure in the bottom right-hand corner that duration is set at 0.2. If we set it now, and as we duplicate each frame, it's just going to stay at 0.2, and that's what we want. Okay, so the next part is fairly easy. So let's deselect and duplicate. let's turn on the onion skin, either from here or from the View pull-down menu here. Okay, you've done this before. Let's click on the baseball and again move it to the left, having that overlap that you used last time. Okay, all right, deselect, duplicate. Again, pull it to the left, overlap, deselect and duplicate. Do the same thing, deselect and duplicate. So I want you to continue until the ball reaches the left-hand edge of the frame. Make sure you center that ball on that line. Remember that line is a guiding line. Deselect and duplicate. Continue the process. Continue moving that ball at a uniform distance, making sure you're overlapping. Make sure you center that ball on that guiding line. Okay, make sure you deselect before you duplicate the frame, or else what you'll do is you'll just simply duplicate the ball. Now, as you get to the left-hand edge of the frame, make sure that your last bit just shows the tip of the ball leaving the frame on the left-hand side. Okay, let's save. We haven't saved in a while. Okay, so once you got the ball on the left-hand edge of the frame, what we need to do is we need to use the slider and go back to the first frame that we started in this tutorial. In other words, the frame right after where we have the background of the baseball diamond. Okay, so let's leave this frame and let's go to the next frame. Now you've done this before in previous tutorials. Now let's click on the baseball and let's rotate it a quarter turn or a little bit less forward to the left. Okay, and then continue that process with every baseball. Make sure you use the ghost image or the onion skin image to kind of tell you how far to rotate. Remember, we're trying to rotate about a quarter or less to the left. Keep going through this process. Use the slider at the bottom to make sure that you can see all of your frames. Again, just take your time. You don't have to rush. Sometimes with the mouse, it's hard to use that little ball at the top, the rotate tool. Probably be easier on a touch screen. Okay, let's continue moving that, rotating that ball forward. I noticed in the previous frame that my ball was a little bit high, so I'm going to pull it down a bit. Okay, and these are things that you can watch for as you're going through the screens. Is the position of the ball kind of realistic? This one's a little bit high too. Okay, make sure you deselect before going on to the next. Actually, it's not that important that you deselect, is it? Okay, and we're always rotating forward about a quarter turn. And I'm going to get to the last frame here, and I'm going to rotate it a quarter turn. Okay, so let's see what we've done so far. Let's use the slider, and let's go back to the first frame that we started in this tutorial. Let's turn off the onion skin, and let's click play. Very good. Very good. Okay, so let's go back to that first frame from this tutorial again, and let's go in and delete this guiding line. So make sure you click on it carefully and then just hit delete with your keyboard. Just be careful that you are only deleting that line. Just take your time, go through carefully, don't delete anything that you don't want to delete. Make sure you use the slider at the bottom so that you can get at all of your frames. Okay, so this should look a lot more realistic. So let's go back either to the very beginning of your animation. Actually, let's do that. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of our animation. Let's click on frame 1 and hit play. Very nice. Okay, let's hit save. This concludes this Frames 5 video tutorial on sports part 4. Please continue on with the next tutorial without calling Mr. Ueda over. Thanks for watching. Bye.